My name is Brenda. I am 29 years old. I live in a small town in the north of England. The streets are quiet, and the air always smells like rain. Most people here know each other. Some have never left. I work at a small local office. It's a boring job, but it pays my bills. I print papers, answer calls, and make tea for my boss. Nothing special ever happens. That is why I remember every small moment that made me feel something. Philip has always been part of my life. He is 1 year older than me. We grew up in the same house. We played in the same garden. We went to the same school. He always said, "I will protect you." And I always believed him. We were not rich, but our house was warm. My mother was kind but quiet. She worked long hours at a shop. She came home tired every day. My father was strict. He did not speak much. He liked things clean and silent. He never smiled. Philip did not like him. I did not either, but I was afraid. Philip was different. He laughed. He told stories. He always walked with his head high. People liked him. Teachers liked him. Even when he did something wrong, they smiled and said, "He's a smart boy." When I was sad, Philip made me laugh. When I had a cold, he made me soup. When I was scared at night, he sat by my bed. He said, "I'm here. Don't worry." I always felt safe when he was near. We shared many things. A small room, one window, an old carpet, a broken radio. But I never felt poor. I felt lucky. I thought our life was normal. I thought everything was fine. Until small things started to feel strange. One day when I was 10, I asked Mom, "Why don't we have baby photos?" She looked up from her tea. Her hand shook a little. "We lost them in a fire," she said. I didn't remember a fire, but I said nothing. I believed her. Another time I asked Dad where I was born. He said, "In this town, of course." But his voice was flat. He looked away. Philip looked at me too, like he wanted to say something, but he stayed quiet. As we grew older, Philip changed. He became more distant. He still cared, I knew it, but he talked less. He spent more time outside. He met new people. He got into trouble once or twice, but he always came home. He always had dinner with us. I stayed home. I didn't have many friends. I liked books. I liked quiet walks. I liked old music and long baths. I wanted to leave town one day, but I didn't know how. Then Mom got sick. It was not serious at first. A small cough, a little pain. But she looked tired all the time. She lost weight. Her eyes looked empty. She stopped going to work. She stayed in bed. Philip and I took care of her. We made soup. We cleaned the kitchen. We helped her walk. She smiled and said thank you, but I could see pain in her eyes. One night, I sat next to her. She held my hand and said, "You are kind, Brenda. Always remember that." Then she closed her eyes. She didn't wake up the next morning. Dad didn't cry. He stood like stone. Philip cried in his room. I sat by the window and watched the rain. Everything felt cold. The house felt quiet, like it lost its voice. After the funeral, I asked Philip, "Do you ever wonder about our family?" He looked at me, surprised. "What do you mean?" I shrugged. "I don't know. Sometimes it feels like something is missing." He didn't answer. Before we continue with the story, I'd love to hear from you. Which part of the world are you listening from today? Leave a comment below. And if this story touched your heart, please subscribe for more simple and emotional English stories. The months passed. Dad got older. He stayed in his chair all day. He read the same old books. He stopped talking. Philip started working out of town. He only came home on weekends. I missed him, but I understood. Life was moving. People had to move with it. Still, I felt something deep in my chest, a kind of weight, like a question I couldn't ask, like a door I couldn't open. Some nights I stayed awake thinking. I looked at the ceiling. I watched the shadows. I thought about Mum, her eyes, her quiet voice, her last words. Then one Sunday, Philip didn't come home. He called me and said, "I'm busy. I'll visit next week." I felt strange after the call. His voice sounded tired, like he had something else on his mind, something heavy. I cleaned the house that day. I opened a drawer in the hallway. I was looking for batteries. I found an old box. It was full of papers, photos, and other small things. I wanted to stop, but I couldn't. My hand shook as I pulled it out. I sat down on the floor and looked at the papers. Some were boring. Bills, old cards, school notes. But then I saw one photo. It was a woman holding a baby. She looked like Mum, but younger. She was smiling. The baby had dark hair and big eyes. The woman wrote something on the back. My hands turned cold. I put the photo back and closed the box. I stood up and looked out the window. The sky was gray. The street was quiet. But my heart was loud. Something didn't feel right. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself to forget it. But deep down, I knew. Something was coming. The days after I found the photo felt different. I tried to act normal, but my thoughts kept going back to the box. Who was that woman? Why did she write on the back of the photo? Why did it feel like a part of our story was missing? Philip didn't come home that week. He didn't call either. That was not like him. Even when he was busy, he always sent a quick message. But now, silence. I sat at the kitchen table alone. I made tea for two, out of habit. I watched the steam rise. The house was too quiet. I could hear the clock on the wall tick, tick, tick. I picked up my phone, then put it down, then picked it up again. I texted him, "Are you okay?" No answer. The next day, I walked to the town library. It was small and old. I didn't really want a book. I just wanted to think, to sit, to breathe. I sat near the window. Outside, kids were running. A mother held her baby close. She looked tired, but full of love. I thought about Mum, her soft hands, her tired eyes. That one time she held my face and whispered, "You are my girl." I always believed it. But now, I didn't know why that memory felt different. It was just a kind moment, right? So why was I starting to question it? I couldn't stop thinking about the photo. That woman had Mum's smile, but she also looked different, like someone I didn't know. And the baby? Was that me? On Sunday morning, Philip came home. I heard his car pull up. I watched him from the window. He looked tired. He didn't see me looking. He sat in the car for a few minutes before coming in. He opened the door and smiled. "Hey, Brenda." "Hey," I said. He hugged me, but it felt short. I looked at his face. His eyes were red. He looked like he hadn't slept. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Yeah," he said. "Just work stuff." We sat in the living room. I offered him tea. He nodded. We didn't speak much. The room felt heavy, like we both had something to say, but no one wanted to be first. After a long pause, I asked, "Can I ask you something?" He looked at me, quiet. That box in the hallway drawer. Do you know what's in it? He froze for a second. What box? The one with old photos and papers. Oh, yeah. I think it's just old stuff. I nodded, but my heart was loud. I was scared to ask more. I wanted the truth, but I was afraid of it too. That night, I went into the kitchen for water. Philip was outside, talking on the phone. I couldn't hear the words, but his voice was low and fast. He looked upset. When he saw me, he ended the call quickly. Who was that? I asked. No one, he said. Just someone from work. But I knew he was lying. The next day, I did something I never thought I would do. I went back to the box. I took out the photo again. I looked at the back. The writing was clear. To my sweet Brenda, I will always love you. Claire. Claire. I had never heard that name before. My hands started to shake. I looked at the handwriting. It didn't match Mum's. My heart beat fast. Who was Claire? Why did she write my name? Was she? I walked to my room and closed the door. I sat on the floor and stared at the photo. A part of me didn't want to know, but a bigger part needed answers. I took the photo to Dad. He sat in his chair like always. His eyes were tired. He looked at the photo for a long time. Then he looked at me. Where did you find this? In the hallway drawer, I said. He nodded slowly. His hand touched the edge of the photo. That was a long time ago, he said. Who is Claire? I asked. My voice was soft, but strong. He looked at me. His face changed. He looked older, sadder. Then he spoke. She was your mother. My whole body froze. What? I asked. He took a deep breath. Claire was your real mother, not Anna. Anna. That was the name I always used for Mom. My heart dropped. But I don't understand, I whispered. He looked down. Claire was young. She had you when she was only 17. She couldn't keep you. She was not ready. So Anna and I took you in. She was my sister. Your sister? I asked. You mean, Mum was not my mum? She raised you. She loved you. She was your mother in every way that mattered. But no, she didn't give birth to you. Tears came to my eyes. My lips shook. I didn't know what to say. I felt cold all over. And Philip? I asked. Dad looked away. What about Philip? I asked again. He knew, he said. We told him when he was a teenager. Tears ran down my face. My chest hurt. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. Dad's eyes filled with tears. We wanted to, but time passed. It never felt like the right moment. I stood up. You should have told me. I had a right to know. I walked out of the room. My legs felt weak. I sat on my bed and cried. Everything I knew felt broken. My whole life. It was not what I thought. Philip came to my room later. He sat beside me. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't know how to tell you. You knew? I asked. He nodded. Since I was 15. They told me. I was shocked too, but I didn't want you to feel different. You should have told me, I said. I was scared, he said. You were happy. I didn't want to break that. I looked at him. You're not really my brother. He looked down. Not by blood, but you are still my sister. Always. I wanted to believe him. I really did, but I didn't know what to feel. Everything was changing, and this was only the beginning. The next morning, I woke up early. The sky was still gray. My room felt cold and heavy. I sat on my bed and stared at the wall. My pillow was wet from tears. My head hurt. My heart felt tired. I could still hear Dad's voice from the night before. She was your mother, not Anna. Her name was Claire. The words repeated in my mind again and again. I got out of bed and walked to the kitchen. Philip was there making toast. He looked at me but said nothing. I sat at the table. My hands were cold. He placed a cup of tea in front of me. I didn't drink it. We sat in silence for a long time. Then I asked, "Why didn't you ever say anything?" He looked down. "I thought I was protecting you." I shook my head. "You were hiding the truth." He sighed. "Maybe I was. I didn't want to lose you." I looked at him. "You were the only person I trusted. Now I don't know what to feel." He didn't speak. He just sat there with sad eyes and a quiet heart. That day, I went for a walk. I needed air. I needed space. I walked past the bakery, the school, and the church. I walked to the park near the river. I sat on a bench and watched the water move. My chest was heavy. My mind was full. I thought about Claire. I tried to remember her face, but I couldn't. I didn't know her at all. Was she still alive? Did she think of me? Did she miss me? I walked home slowly. When I got back, Dad was in his chair. He didn't look up. He just stared at the same book he always read. I stood in front of him. He raised his eyes and waited. "Do you know where she is?" I asked. He closed the book. His fingers pressed the cover. "She moved away a long time ago," he said. "We lost contact after you were 4. Why didn't you stay in touch?" "She asked us not to. She said she wanted a clean break. But she wrote her name on that photo. That means she cared." "She did care, but she thought she was doing the right thing." I sat down across from him. "I want to find her." His eyes widened. "Brenda, I need to know who I am." He looked tired. "It won't be easy." "I don't care," I said. "I have to try." Philip drove me to the city the next day. He didn't talk much during the ride. I didn't either. The radio played soft music. I looked out the window. Trees, shops, cars, all passed by like a blur. My heart beat fast. I had never felt this kind of fear before, or this kind of hope. We stopped at an office near the center. It was quiet and gray. I gave them Claire's name. The woman behind the desk searched her computer. Then she said, "There is one record in the next town. The name matches. Same age group. You can try there." That evening, I sat in my room and searched online. I typed Claire M., age 47, near Manchester. I found 3 names. One of them had a flower shop. Another worked at a small school. The third had no details. The next morning, I picked the flower shop. When I arrived, the woman behind the counter had short brown hair. Her eyes were kind. Her hands were busy with red roses. I walked up slowly. "Hello," I said. "I'm looking for someone named Claire. Claire M." She looked up. Her eyes met mine. For a second, we just stared at each other. Then her face changed. Her lips parted. Her hands began to shake. "Brenda?" she whispered. My legs almost gave out. She came around the counter and stood in front of me. Her eyes filled with tears. You look just like your father, she said. I couldn't speak. She touched my arm gently. You found me, she whispered. I had to, I said. She nodded. I didn't think this day would ever come. We sat in the back room. She made tea. I watched her hands move. They were like mine. Her voice was soft. Her face was older than in the photo, but still kind. I wanted to keep you, she said. But I was 17. I had no money, no help. My brother and his wife said they could give you a good life. I thought I was doing the best thing. You never wrote? I wanted to, but I thought it would confuse you. I grew up not knowing the truth, I said. It was more than confusion. It was a hole. Tears ran down her cheeks. I'm so sorry, Brenda. We talked for hours about her life, about mine, about the day she gave me away, about the box I found, the photo, the writing. She never thought I would see it, but she had written it for me, just in case. When I got home that night, Philip was waiting at the door. I stood there holding my bag. She's alive, I said. I met her. His eyes filled with tears. I'm glad, he said. We sat on the couch. Do you still hate me? He asked. I don't hate you, I said. But I need time. He nodded. I'll wait. I'm still your brother. If not by blood, then by heart. And for the first time in days, I smiled. The next few days felt strange. My heart was still full, but the weight was softer now. I had answers. I had truth. But I also had pain. I walked through the house with new eyes. Everything felt different, but nothing had changed. The same walls, the same table, the same clock on the wall. But now I knew. Claire sent me a message every morning. Just, "Good morning, Brenda," or "Hope you have a good day." I replied with short messages. I didn't know how to say much yet. It was still new, still hard. One evening, she sent a photo of herself standing in front of her flower shop. She held a white rose in her hand, the same kind Anna, used to love. I felt a tear roll down my cheek. 2 women had loved me. One gave me life. One gave me a home. Philip stayed quiet those days. He didn't ask many questions. He just made dinner, cleaned the kitchen, and stayed nearby. I think he was waiting for me to speak first. He didn't push. He knew I needed time. One night, I found him in the garden. He was sitting on the old bench we used to play on. I walked over and sat next to him. We didn't talk at first. The stars were out. The sky was clear. You remember that day we got lost in the woods? I asked. He smiled. You cried for an hour. I was 7, and I was supposed to be watching you. You found the way back. You held my hand the whole walk home. We both laughed. Then I looked at him and said, You lied to me. He looked down. I know. I needed you to tell me the truth. I was scared. I didn't want to lose the only sister I had. I'm still here, I said, but I need honesty now. Always. He nodded. You'll have it. I promise. It didn't fix everything, but it helped. A week later, Claire came to visit. I cleaned the house and made tea. My hands were shaking. Philip stayed upstairs. Dad stayed in his chair and said nothing. When Claire walked in, the air felt heavy. She wore a simple blue coat and held a small box. This is for you, she said. I opened it. Inside was a necklace, a small silver heart. I bought it the day you were born, she said. I've kept it all these years. I held it in my hand. Thank you, I said softly. We sat at the table. I poured tea. She looked around the house. It hasn't changed much, she said. No, I replied. It still feels like Mum's place. She smiled sadly. Anna was good. She loved you. I know, I said. She was always kind. Claire touched my hand. I never wanted to hurt you. I believe you, I said. We didn't talk about the past too much. We just talked like two people learning each other. We talked about flowers, about books, about food. She liked lemon cake. I liked apple pie. Later, she asked, "Can I meet him? Your dad?" I nodded slowly. He's in the living room. She walked in carefully. Dad looked up. His eyes were wide. He stood slowly. For a long time, they just stared at each other. No words. Just silence. Then he said, "You look like her." Claire nodded. "I've missed you, James." He took a deep breath. "You're still family." She smiled. Then her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you." That evening, Philip came downstairs. He saw Claire and froze. She stood up and opened her arms. "I know I'm not your mother," she said, "but I'm glad you took care of her." Philip walked to her slowly. "She loved Brenda. She raised her well. I'm thankful for that." He nodded. "I'm glad she found you." They hugged. It was short, but it mattered. The next morning, Claire left. I watched her get into her car. Before she drove away, she smiled at me and said, "Let's not lose each other again." "We won't," I promised. As the days passed, I felt stronger. I went back to work. I smiled more. I slept better. The pain didn't leave, but it got quieter. One day, I stood in front of the mirror and put on the necklace. The silver heart felt warm. I looked at myself. I still looked like the same Brenda, but I felt new inside. Philip walked by and said, "You look nice." "Thanks," I said. I packed a small bag that weekend. I was going to visit Claire again, just for a few days, just to talk more, to ask the questions I wasn't ready to ask before. Before I left, I hugged Philip. "Thank you for still being here." "Always," he said. I looked around the house one last time. This place held my past. It held my pain, but it also held my joy, my memories, my love. Then I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel lost. I felt found. I hope you have enjoyed the story. Like and comment if you want to hear more soon.